so they're having, like if there's 4 subjects, they're going to be tested every quarter on that, and the results would come back in like within 3 or 4 days. That way the teacher can work to help them make that better. So we're going to work on that again this next year.
Thank you, Representative.
Yes, sorry.
Senator Hill, I hope I've given you enough time to catch your breath as you came in.
Yeah, I need to talk really fast, so I was kind of wound up getting here, and if you would believe that I got down the street that there was a tree across, and that's why I was late. It wasn't true, but you might believe that. I'm going to stand up because usually I spill something on my tie, and I want you all to know that I haven't spilled anything on my tie yet today. So Lynette would be proud if she was here. Thank you, Clark. You know, they've done a great job of covering the pace and everything of the legislature this last year. I want to talk about something real quick. We all of us up here call ourselves conservatives. And we say that a lot, and we don't always tell what that really means. And if you're a conservative, it means that you want to conserve the important things that have come before you. And so if in this 250th year, we look at what our country has done for 250 years. You look at the foundation of what our country is, and we want to conserve those important things about it. And those biblical principles that our country was founded on. And you know, it's been a pleasure to serve in the Kansas legislature. I served in the House for 3 years. I'm now in the Senate. It is a great honor to represent the 24th District, which includes all of Saline County and all of Dickinson County. And you know, I think people have talked about the storm, and I won't belabor that. I wrote my column on it this week. If you get my column, you're going to get a whole column on it. If you don't get my column and want to, give me your email address and I'll get it to you. But the one thing that hasn't maybe been talked about as much as I think should be is how people helped each other out. And as I was around Salina and calling people and talking to people, they're like, no, I already got somebody, my neighbor came over with a chainsaw, or, you know, somebody brought me food. And everything that happened this last week was what's really, really good about Kansas. You know, that we care about each other, that we look out for each other, and that, you know, we may have differences politically, or we may have differences in other things that we believe, but when we get into a difficult time, we put those aside and we say, how can I help you? You're my neighbor. And we need to remember that, and we need to remember the things that bring us together rather than tearing us apart. I served this last year on 3 committees: education, judiciary, and financial institutions and insurance, FI&I we call it. I'll briefly talk on just a couple of those things. In insurance, we spend a lot of time trying to find ways to bring down the cost of insurance because it keeps skyrocketing all the time. Those of you that have property insurance or car insurance or health insurance or whatever insurance you got, it just keeps going up. And so we try to find ways to attack some of that. We passed several bills. They're usually little things, you know. It isn't like, oh, all of a sudden your health insurance is going to be half, you know, or your car insurance is going to be half. It's little things that we try to keep the cost down, keep the coverage up. Judicial, already been talked about some of the tough on crime things we did. We did a lot of them. And we closed a lot of loopholes. We closed loopholes that criminals were exploiting. And then I want to touch briefly on education. Cell phone bill's already been mentioned. I worked 3 years on that bill. We finally got it passed last year. And as soon as we got that bill passed, I introduced one to reduce screen time in schools. And we think the State Board of Education has actually learned something, that when the legislature starts to talk about it, you better do something. And if they don't do something, we're going to, as a legislature, reduce the amount of time that kids are on screens. It's causing mental health issues, it's causing behavioral issues, and it's certainly causing academic issues. And so we need to reduce the amount of time. I'll close off with that. I see I got 30 seconds left. I can probably close in 30 seconds, but thank you, grannies. each and every one of you. Thank you for everybody that shows up. This is a fantastic crowd to be here tonight. I appreciate your support and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Let's give a big hand to all of our representatives.
That wraps up our first little session, and so while these ladies and gentlemen want to take a seat, we will get our county commission candidates up here. And so I don't forget, once we get started, the girls will be passing a basket around for donations to help pay for the room rent and our streamer. And then also your index cards that you got to write questions. First will be the county commissioners, and then if you need more cards, get some for your representatives and senators on the next session. So if you guys will take a seat up here.
Rosemary.
Yes, yes. I'm sure. Yes.
You guys ready? Catch your breath and get ready to go. I want to give as much time as possible for you guys to ask questions, so we're going to get it started here. And the way this is set up is we'll have 3 minutes of an opening statement from each of you first, and then we will have some questions, and we'll give you 1 minute of response time for that. And our beautiful timekeeper here is right in the middle. You may not think she's beautiful when she holds up how much time you have left, but just keep an eye there, and she'll try to keep everything running smoothly. But I do appreciate all of you for being here tonight. There will also be a basket going around, and for those of you who are new to our process here, we have 3x5 cards that you can write a question on. Those will be collected up in those baskets, and then as we have them, we will be able to ask them, and that way everybody can hear the question. It will be a smoother process. It's worked really well for us over the last year or so since we've done that. And so if you have a question, or if they spark something in your mind, write that down, put it in the baskets that will be going around shortly, and we'll get those questions asked for you. We're going to start on this end of the table. Mr. Wayne Norman, 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Hey, Chad.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Would you explain who all is running for what?
Well, there's a Wayne Norman. These guys are all for county commissioner spots. And what I will ask you to do is, when you start your opening statement, if you will address which district you are running for. I think that would help everybody to understand. And there are probably some who are here tonight who are not sure which district they are in. So if you want to explain that a little bit, that might help out as well. Does that work, Mr. Sanders?
Close enough.
Close enough. All right. I'll try better next time. We'll start with Mr. Norman right here. 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Well, I'm Wayne Norman, and I'm what you call new kid on the block. Because this is the first time I've gotten into the political ring. And,
Is that microphone on?
up here, is it on?
There you go.
Okay. How's this?
Great.
That's why I was holding it back here. Again, I'm Wayne Norman, and new kid on the block, was first time into the political ring, and I want to kind of give you a background of who I am. I am running for County Commissioner, District Number 5, and I am not new to Saline County. I was born and raised here, and with short of 11 years being gone, I came back after I swore I'd never come back. But you never make that kind of comment and so forth. And I've been a firefighter for District 5 for 4.5 years, and before I became a police officer. And I was hired by John Woody, one of the greatest police chiefs that ever was. And I learned how to talk with people by becoming a DARE officer. I was become the DARE officer and taught in all the schools for 8 years. I also was awarded a Wheat State Award by the Kansas Attorney General Office for my work in crime prevention. And in 1998, my wife and I got the opportunity to buy a White's Armored Car Service. And we renamed it Norman's Armored Car and ran it for 14 years. And in that process, we took it from one truck operation to 16 trucks and presence in 7 states. And then became part of Gar World, and we brought our branch up to be the top 3 profit makers of this central region.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Norman. Next will be Mr. Joe Hay, and I guess I could have said District 5 for both of you fellas, but I'll let you say that. I won't steal your thunder, Joe.
Oh, okay. Good evening. You know, I want to thank the grannies for putting this on tonight. I want to thank my wife. You know, we've been married for 52 years, and been in Saline County, or in Salina, Saline County I have been for about 60 years. And anyway, 3 years ago, the voters of District 5 entrusted me with the responsibility of serving as your Saline County Commissioner. It's been one of the greatest honors of my life, and I'm asking for your support again tonight. When I took this office, I promised the accessible, accountable, and focused on issues that are most important to Saline County. I believe I've kept that promise. I have worked to be a commissioner who listens first, put the taxpayers first, and makes decisions based on what is best for the county, not politics. During my time in office, we have supported economic development efforts, invested in roads, infrastructure. We strengthened public safety partnerships and worked to ensure city government operates efficiently, and we have faced challenges together, and I have never been afraid to tackle difficult issues. When the residents in Sundowner area experience ongoing water quality issues and concerns, I worked to ensure that those concerns were heard and addressed, and they had accessible, safe water and reliable water. Reliable water is not a luxury; it's a necessity. And I have remained committed in finding solutions to protect our residents and their quality of life. Likewise, as discussions surrounding the battery energy storage system that emerges in our county, I was an advocate for those a thoughtful, transparent process that put public safety first, property rights first, and put local input first. Growth and innovation are important, and they must be balanced with concerns and interests of the people who live there. I am seeking the re-election, but there's still important things to do as we grow our economy, support our law enforcement, and also be responsible for our taxpayer dollars. I am proud of what we have accomplished, and I'm excited to what lies ahead. I would be honored for your vote and to serve as your District 5 Commissioner. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Saline County.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Ms. Lori Blake with District 4.
Well, good evening. I'm happy to be with you all this evening. Thanks for taking time to come out and learn a little bit about each one of us. I am running for District 4, which is Southern Saline County. There's a little cutout that goes up to 9th Street, but the majority of it is south of Schilling Road and west of Ohio to the western boundary of Saline County. 2 years ago, I ran for the House of Representatives, and our Representative Clark Sanders beat me in that race. But it gave me an opportunity to kind of stop and reflect upon what's important to me. Before that, I was the executive director at Child Advocacy and Parenting Services, which is a nonprofit that serves 10,000 unique individuals in our community, fighting against child abuse and helping individuals in our community recover from their worst days. And in that time, I had the opportunity to work with many of our county organizations, including Community Corrections and the Saline County Sheriff's Department and the Health Department. And so those gave me kind of a unique perspective, I think, about what that means to us as citizens. I've lived here my whole life, minus 2 years when my parents moved me at age 2 to Louisiana for 10 months, and then back to Winfield, Kansas, and then they came back to Saline County. So this has been home. My husband and I chose to start a business in Assyria, Kansas, and stay here and raise our family. We are parents of 3 children, ages 20, 22, and 24. So I've got 2 of them off the payroll, and that feels really good. But when I lost the election, I had a lot of time on my hands to think about what am I going to spend my time doing. I work 1 day a week at Trinity United Methodist Church as our church treasurer, and then I do consulting for the Kansas Association of School Boards, helping teach school board members what it means to be good governance, because I served 13 years at Southeast of Saline on our Board of Education there, and the last 8 years of that service also served on the association's board of directors. So the work that I've been doing for the last 2 years has been all about local. And as I've prayed about, do I run again against Clark, or do I do something different? The answer was stay. And the answer there came from serving nonprofits again on boards and helping the Boys and Girls Club get started and helping a new group called Core Communities Fight Poverty in our community. And so when this opportunity on May 14th was presented that nobody had filed for District 4 yet, which is where I live, I thought, oh, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I am all about service. I'm a servant leader. I'm here to serve and listen. It's who I have always been. I want to be a unifier and work with people as a problem-solving entity. And I look forward to that opportunity because nobody filed against me. So hopefully something strange doesn't happen and I'll become your commissioner in January. But I look forward to hearing what's important to you all.
Thank you, thank you. Ms. Sharon Calabrese, she's running for District 1 County Commission.
Thank you. And before we start, I'd like to thank Mr. Norman for his service, and also I want to thank our community. With last week's windstorms, when neighbors were helping neighbors, it really made me feel blessed to be in Saline County. My name's Sharon Calabrese. I was born and raised right here in Salina, and my husband Jerry and I have been married for 37 years. We've lived on the farm, worked the farm, had business in town as well. I was a realtor, and he had Calabrese Heating and Cooling. We're both officially retired, but we still work. So for years I've wanted to get involved with our community. However, life's issues kind of told me it wasn't going to happen because I wasn't available locally. A lot of things kept me out of state. So now I do have the time and the capacity and the dedication to serve you. I am running because I've observed local governments let critical issues linger for way too long, and I've seen wasteful spending and poor returns on our tax dollars. So as a former realtor, as I mentioned, my motto was always to keep the client's best interest at heart. And that's what I'll bring to our county commission too. It'll never be about me, it'll be about the job at hand. I'll keep transparency and accountability foremost. So tonight, I want to focus on 4 critical issues that I believe we need to address sooner rather than later. One is that we must protect our heritage. Due to a series of unfortunate events, our county fair is really at risk, the fair and the rodeo. And I think they need a very strong voice and an advocate on the county commission for them. And I would be that, and I want to ensure that they get every opportunity to bring our county fair and rodeo back to the heyday it once was. I think our second thing we must do is build safer environments for our kids. Believe it or not, there are still neighborhoods in our county that do not have safe playground equipment for the kids to play on. And so I really believe that if I'm elected, that we will take that off the back burner and get that taken care of right away. I think we owe it to our, oh my, 30 seconds. Okay. Let's see, sorry. Okay, we must address infrastructure. There's been engineered plans that have been sitting on a shelf for way too long. We need to dust those off and go implemented. It actually will save a town from flooding, and they can sleep at night. Also, our roads are washboardy, and basically all it takes is training, proper training, to make sure that the ground on the road. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Keep that microphone in, and I would remind, well, you got two microphones down there. I would remind our candidates up here, eat that microphone. Try to get it as close to your mouth as possible. There are some that are having some trouble hearing back in the back. It's much easier for them to turn you down than it is to turn you up. So if you would try to, don't literally eat it, but get it right in your mouth as much as possible. And it is time for you to start writing down your questions. Some of the ladies are going to be coming down the aisles with a basket. You can drop those questions in the basket. I'm going to ask a few questions to kind of get the ball rolling, and maybe that'll spark some conversation as well. I'm going to start off with something that has been a little bit controversial in our state, and it may be coming to Saline County quicker than we think. Data centers. Where do you stand on data centers, and how do you balance trying to keep up with the digital age while at the same time protecting our local resources, which seems to be the big battleground? And since we started here last time, we'll start on the other end with Ms. Calabrese first. Again, folks, 1 minute for response, so go ahead and gather your thoughts, and 1 minute response for this one.
Okay, well, I'm a little familiar with the data centers and the battery storage things, and one of the first things that you always kind of think of is somebody has to go that far out of their own, oh, thank you, hello. When somebody has to go that far out of their own backyard to try to find support for what they're wanting to do, that's a big red flag. And I do understand that the resources that are required with these data centers are just not feasible, especially in Kansas, where we've been going through droughts for many years, and we just don't have the resources to share with data centers. No matter what kind of pie in the sky they're promising us, you know, you don't really, it could be pigeon pie up there or mud pie, you don't know. I wouldn't go there. At least that's based off the information that I have right now. If somebody can prove to me differently, that'd be great.
Thank you. Ms. Gisler.
Well, in this day of AI, we have to consider lots of things. And I think I don't have all the information about who might come to us. The way I approach making decisions is looking at whatever that issue is and getting all the information possible. I don't have that information today. So I don't want to draw a line in the sand. I do understand that there are environmental issues with data centers that would need to be considered that I would not be willing to risk locally. Safety also needs to be that. But really thinking about like, what is the purpose of the tool of AI? Is it to make fun images of our families? Or are there better ways that that resource might be able to be utilized to solve problems in our world? Who's behind the data center? Like who's the one forming the information? I'm real skeptical of using those tools because you don't know who the coder is. You don't know where the information is coming from. So I think that's really critical to think about where that, where all the information is coming from and how that impacts us locally.
Thank you. Mr. Hay.
Okay, data centers. I've been, Saline County just has put on a 3-year moratorium on data centers, along with battery energy storage systems and with nuclear and hydrogen. Saline County in the unincorporated areas does not have the resources, it does not have the water for us to build something that big. Number one for me is safety. The safety of our residents, the safety of our children. And so, you know, data centers right now is just until we get more information, get more stuff going, get more information on it, Right now, it's a no.
Thank you. Mr. Norman?
Is this on? There we go. I'm not a proponent of data centers, because we have to draw a line and say what's right for, and safe for constituents and people who live here. Thank you. And the safety and resources is the main thing that we have to look at. We have to look at what the environment is going to be damaged by, and the large centers. And I'm not an A1 proponent either. I fight it all the time with my company, and so I'm like Joe, a big no.
Thank you. Hold on to that microphone, Mr. Norman. We'll start with you and work back the other way there. I want to ask this, and some of you mentioned it in your opening statement, but I had this already. In your first year, and Joe, this may be a little different for you, you've been in office for a little bit already, but what would you change, or what would be your focus in your first year of becoming county commissioner?
My plan is to work with the economic development and look at ways to bring more revenue into Saline County. The more revenue we bring in, the lower the mill levy, and the better off the tax burden is on people. There's been several programs and events that we have lost. I'd like to look at seeing how we can get them back. The Equifest is one of them. We lost it, it went back to Topeka. That event alone was giving us over $1 million a year. So we need to look at ways to get this revenue back in.
Thank you. Mr. Hay?
Well, I would like to work a little bit closer with the city and on some partnerships with the city, the chamber, the economic development, to make sure that, whatever the opportunities is for businesses to come into Salina, to be able to come into Salina. We also need to take a closer look at our roads, our bridges, our infrastructure, to make sure that we're keeping on top of those all the time. And number one, public safety. Work with the sheriff and the police department to make sure public safety is priority number one for our citizens and our children.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
Okay, well, I would second the economic development things that we have heard from these two gentlemen. But also, we have an opportunity coming to look at how our health department is housed and where that's taking place. There's a transition coming there, and so to be a part of that would be my greatest honor. Community Corrections is facing some changes in funding from the state, and that is our probationary programs here. And so working with that commission to make sure that our community remains safe, and that people who are convicted have the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. I live in the county, and so roads and bridges are always something that we navigate out there. And so making sure that we're not just closing them, but that we're actually addressing those routes that impact our agricultural income as well.
Thank you. Ms. Calabrese?
Actually, that was my fourth point earlier, so I get to mention it. It is to ensure economic prosperity. Right now, Saline County has one of the lower county sales tax, or property tax, I'm sorry. And instead of burdening our current residents, I really think we need to expand, encourage new industry and businesses to come to our county so we can widen our tax base. And that brings better jobs. People are driving out of Saline County to work. I think that's kind of unacceptable. Also, it brings services to our north end and our country life services, and then just also lowering your taxes for everybody, property taxes. So it does get out. And there's another little issue in there too that I just found out, that like 36% of the property in Salina, Kansas is tax exempt. And that's a critical point, I think, at that point. So
Thank you.
like to address that.
For sure, hold on to that microphone, and we'll kind of build on that topic, and as we come back down the line. I think all of you have mentioned tax breaks and economic development. A lot of times, that doesn't go hand in hand. And you're gonna hear a few questions a little bit later. These guys are gonna have some big pressure on them about property tax reform at the state level. And as some of them mentioned, that trickles down to the local level. As we are hyper-focused on the local level, what cuts are available to you, or would you be in favor of within our local government if there is a property tax break that is handed down and it affects our local government?
Well, I think the first thing we should look at is the alternative ways of gaining fees from these tax exempt properties. Hospitals, churches, hospitals especially, when they're buying up these big businesses in our county, which are in town, it's a city issue, it's a county issue. That pushed more burden on all of us. You look at some of your properties and go, why is that $8,000 a year? You know, and you don't get $1,500, $2,000 a month rent on it. So, thank you. I really think we need to look at that, but then just line item, getting into the budget, looking at it, line item, see where areas are not producing like they should, a better return, and taking funds, allocating funds that aren't working so well and redistributing them into more for our infrastructure and economic growth.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
I don't know the county budget, so I don't have a line item that I would say that I could say we need to cut this. But I would concur that when we allow tax exemptions for new entities to come in and we put a 10-year abatement on new development, that impedes our local governments, including schools, including our city, including our county, from levying resources for our community. And so I think there has to be a balance when we're looking at that. And so maybe saying, as a county, this is the total amount of exemptions we can have on the books at the same time. Because we don't also want to impede businesses from coming here. And so we have communities around us that are actively recruiting organizations to come build in their county. And so we have to be real mindful of that. And looking at the big picture, you can't just look at one thing and say this is going to be our saving grace. But what does that mean for employment for the people who live here currently? And what does that mean for our residents? For employment opportunities and quality of life.
Thank you. Mr. Hay, same question.
County budget.
Yep.
Know a lot about county budget because one thing about last year, the Saline County Commissioners cut almost $1 million out of their budget last year, so we did not, so that we could try to lower and not have to raise the mill levy or have to, increase taxes. We kept that pretty low last year. We're trying to do the same this year again. We're looking at, like you said, 36% of those buildings and places in town, trying to recoup some money. We're also trying on, we don't want to give away the farm every time we turn around. We have a tendency that, we get a new business in town and we just abate it to death. So, just to be a good steward of the money and take a look at that is some of the things we're trying to do in Saline County.
Thank you. Mr. Norman?
Well, I think you need to look at balancing what's coming in and what we can do as far as cutting property taxes. I agree with the non-tax or tax exempt. We have to look at that and just see how much we are giving away. But at the same time, look at bringing in more revenue into the county, because the more revenue, the lower the taxes.
Thank you. I have one question for these commissioners that has been turned in. If you have questions, hold it up. These ladies will come get it. Or apparently, you know everything about the county. You don't have any questions about it. This one has to do with wasteful spending. I believe that was mentioned in one of the opening statements a moment ago. And we'll start here with Mr. Norman and work back. What wasteful spending have you seen in Saline County, and how would you correct that?
That's a good question, because there's been a lot of wasteful spending in Saline County. You really can't pick out just one project or one instant, but you need to look at all of it and cut the wasteful spending and look at each project that we're working on so we don't overspend.
Thank you. Mr. Hay?
You know, there's a couple of things, I don't know if I want to call it wasteful spending or anything, but you know, when we did the destruction of the old jail, you know, we had some bids put out for the old jail, and we didn't take the low bid. And a couple of the commissioners on that commission at the time, myself and Commissioner Weiss, we voted no, that we did not want to spend that extra, you know, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on that. Wasteful spending, there's a lot of different things that we can try to do, but you know, just to be a good steward of the taxpayers' money and look at it really close and make sure that we're not trying to waste that taxpayers' money, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to get the low bids. Make sure we're talking to the our vendors and everything to make sure that and our department heads have been really good about cutting their department budget.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
So as a school board member, I'm real proud that we never, when I served, maxed out our mill levy. We were always resourceful. We were trying to leverage the dollars that we had at our table to utilize through grants, through community volunteering, through other tax entities, through federal government. And so when I look at a budget, that's what I try to do too. How do we leverage the resources that we have available to us? How do we make those work best for us? And how do we make sure that our services locally remain safety first and that our citizens have access to the things that they need? So you have to look at it from a global kind of perspective. You can't just cut one thing, because sometimes cutting the nose off your face causes more damage long-term and in the future that will increase spending. So I think you have to look at those numbers holistically, and I am a lifelong learner, so learning the budget will be one of my number one things to focus on initially.
Thank you. Ms. Calabrese?
Right. What Joe mentioned about paying more to have something torn down and hauled off, that makes no sense at all. The other thing that's really a waste of money is when you're laying gravel on a road and then you bulldoze it off to the side of the road, and then you push it to the other side of the road, then you push it to the other side of the road, and then you come back and bring more gravel. That's wasteful money. That's wasteful spending. If they were properly trained, it may take a little bit more right off the top to train them correctly, not that much more, but I would think it costs a little bit, but then you're saving money in the long run. So.
Thank you. Hold on to that microphone. I believe this question was specifically for you, Ms. Calabrese. You mentioned 36% of the properties in the county are non-taxed.
Yes.
Do you have examples of those? You mentioned hospitals and churches.
Yes,
Are there businesses or just nonprofits?
Hospitals, churches. Any kind of human resource type thing, I think is what qualifies. I know the state level has, the list of everything. But yeah, when you look at how much property, I'm not trying to pick on the hospital, but you look at how much property they own in District 1 alone, much less the other one, but District 1 alone is huge, what they own. District 1's north of Crawford, pretty much, just roughly north of Crawford, east of the river, no, west of the river, east of 9th, then it goes north through town, and then Stimmel Road and north to county line. But that's that's not cheap property either that they're sitting on. So I think we need to look at that.
Sure. Did anybody else want to chime in on that, or Joe? Of course, Joe.
We said 36%. Most of it, what we're looking at is Salina Regional. A lot of nonprofit organizations out there that's bought property and it's not on the tax roll. I don't know as many churches that has got property out there that are not on the tax roll or tax exempt, but, you know, some of the larger stuff out there, like, you know, Saline Regional, you know, and a lot of that is state, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, a lot of it is, you know, is run through the state, so it's, it is a problem. And when you know, 36% is a big number, or is a really large number, and it's something that we need to keep on top of and look in more, and, you know, we can work with the, you know, with the county appraiser and see what we can, you know, what can happen.
Sure. All right, I'll ask, we had another question come in for you guys. This is in reference to our law enforcement in Saline County. Manhattan has no city police department. Riley County covers the entire county, including the city of Manhattan, obviously. But would that ever work in Saline or in Saline County? You know, it's only a matter of time before SPD is going to need a new headquarters here as well. And Mr. Norman, we'll start with you with that.
Well, being part of Saline Police Department and the Saline County Sheriff's Office, I was with them for 23 years. And this has been looked at several times to merge the county and the city as all into one. And thus far, they have not come up with a viable plan that will work. Riley County is a unique department. I worked with them on several occasions, but it's a subject that keeps popping up and looking at, and it's a viable thing to look at. You just got to make sure we put it together in the right way.
Thank you. Mr. Hay?
I don't think it's going to work. And the reason I say that is with the city and the county as large as we've got, we need the law enforcement that we've got, the sheriff's department, the local police department. They're both great organizations, but for safety purposes, I just don't see how merging both of them together into one department would make any sense at all.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
I'm always up for a good study, as long as it doesn't cost us money. So if there's evidence that would indicate that would make sense, I certainly would be open to considering that. But working with both the City of Salina Police Department and the Sheriff's Department at CAPS and the work that we did to do investigations for child sexual abuse, we have incredible professionals. My husband and I had some great support on a burglary that we had at our house from our Sheriff's Department. We had amazing response for that. I know these professionals that are, I mean, they are highly esteemed individuals, and so I would never want to undermine that. We want to make sure that everybody's safe wherever they live, and they serve very different purposes currently, the way that structure is. So if there was cost savings and it seems like something that makes sense, it wouldn't be a no, but we need to study it and make sure it's a viable model.
Thank you. Ms. Calabrese?
You know, I don't know enough about the situation right now. I would need to look at it. I'd want to know what the consequences were by consolidating them and how much money it would save and what other problems might be created because of that. So I would need to study it, and I wouldn't pay somebody to study it for me.
Government has, for a long time, been criticized of being reactive as opposed to proactive. We just had this major storm go through. Is there anything you could think of that Saline County could do now to prepare for the next storm so that we would not be in this situation again? Ms. Calabrese, we'll start with you.
Well, I think that.
That microphone,
I'm sorry, thank you. I think it depends a lot on who you put into office. You can choose somebody that's going to continue with the old program, the old way of doing business, or you can put somebody in there that's gonna choose progress over politics. And when I say progress, I'm not saying progressive progress, I'm just saying progress.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
I think in terms specifically of the storm, the response that we had was incredible. I don't know that there's anything we could have done to prepare for the entire city and the majority of the county to be without power the way it was. And the response that we had was phenomenal to come together. And I would echo what I heard from our state representatives, and the way our community responded to each other was beautiful. And is still responding, because there's still people with need. But I think to be innovative, you have to be visionary. And that is an area that I really excel at. It's part of what I do for the association, is help school boards do strategic planning and visioning. And I think it's important that our county takes the time to look at that. And I don't know if we have a strategic plan, but that would be something that I would be an advocate for, to look at the next 3 to 5 years and prioritizing those resources and what the needs we're hearing from our citizens that need to be addressed.
Thank you. Mr. Hay, you're in there.
Okay, right. Saline County has one of the best emergency management programs that I figure in the state of Kansas. Michelle Weiss, she's constantly, even at the times that we don't have anything going on, is always got training of some type, going out in the public, training people on storm watches. It's just, you know, this response that we had from the department, like I said, was top notch. She spent countless hours down there. A lot of the responders that we had, you know, the sheriff's department, the police department, everybody, I mean, they were on top of it. Not a lot I think we can do to do better. I think that they did the best that they could do at that time, and we're always learning. Like I said, Saline County has got a top-notch emergency management program.
Thank you. Mr. Norman.
Well, I've been through the training with Michelle, and she is top-notch. And Saline County is prepared for tornadoes. We watch for tornadoes. We get one of the best watches and radar. But with the straight line wind that we had, that was the worst that I've ever seen. I've had 80-mile-an-hour wind out where I live, right Glendale, but 115 miles an hour. You just can't be prepared for some straight line wind that does not show up. So, but I think Saline County's got one of the best programs around.
Thank you. I have not received any more questions for you guys, so I'm going to move to our closing statement for you. And we started opening statements on this end. We'll start closing statements on the other end and move back this way. Again, 3 minutes. 3 minutes for a closing statement. And again, thank you to all of you, and feel free to applaud them or boo them, I guess, if you disagree with them after that. But we'll start with Ms. Calabrese. 3 minutes for a closing statement.
Okay, I appreciate that. Leadership is always best when everyone is involved, and I will welcome their common sense concerns and suggestions. Let's stop letting critical projects sit on the shelf, and I hope you vote for common sense, leadership, and fiscal accountability, and for a stronger future for Saline County. Whether you live in the city or out in the country, our futures are tied together. And we stand at a critical crossroad for our county right now. And the choice is not just between candidates, but it's going to be a choice between repeating the same old patterns or choosing a fresh, proactive path. And that's what I hope to bring. I am ready to bring fiscal accountability to our budget, fix our infrastructure, and ensure your tax dollars work for you. I promise to listen to your concerns, answer your phone calls, and fight for your family. A vision for a better community needs your support. I need your energy, your input, and your vote on August 4th. Let's choose progress over politics. And thank you for being involved with our community and being here tonight. And thank you, Granny Brigade, for having us. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here tonight.
Ms. Lori Blake.
I think we learn from our experiences, and so when things happen to us, if we just continue to repeat cycles, to me that doesn't show a lot of forward thinking. And so to echo kind of what Sharon is saying, I'm not that kind of a leader. I'm somebody that wants to elevate all voices, and that I will seek out those voices that are not being represented at the table. For instance, we have the lowest birth rate currently in our state's history in the last 100 years. We have a declining population in our county. We have great things coming to our community, but we are not growing as a county. And that is something that's concerning to me. I do think that families are not being supported at the level that they need to be. Our wages are too low. Families cannot afford to have children, and that's a strong reason why a lot of families are not having children. So to look at our issues through the lens of those small voices, I think is something that's very important to me. I am a 4-H'er, and when I think about the county fair and what it looks like currently, it makes me very sad. But our expo center is something none of us have talked about tonight. That is something that will be coming forward in the next few years. Joe's nodding his head there. We need to address that elephant in our county and in our community, and either take care of it or move it. We've got to figure that out. Accountability is not a dirty word. I teach our school boards that. We are using tax dollars to provide services in our community, and so we are accountable to the people that elect us. We need to be available to listen to people, and we've got to work together in order to grow our tax base. That's who I am. I want a place that maybe my children will want to move back to eventually. You know, I've got one living in my basement right now who is working and saving money to be able to buy a home. He doesn't want to throw his money away on rent, and so he's growing a little nest egg right now. I've got one in college that is looking at, do I stay in Kansas as a mechanical engineer, or do I go somewhere else? And I have one who is living in the Kansas City area right now, looking at, you know, what is the next step for her. She's a college graduate, but I would love it if Saline County was a place that they wanted to come back to and make home long-term, the way my husband and I have, and my siblings. So I look forward to serving you and getting to know what issues are important to you, and thanks for being here tonight. Again, thank you to the Granny Brigade for including us and providing this opportunity for people to get to know us.
You know, the future of Saline County should be about building on progress we have made while protecting the values of our communities and strong. You know, I have some, what I see for the future of Saline County. Over the past several years, we've worked to strengthen our roads, infrastructure, support our responsibility of economic growth, expand our rural broadband, and to ensure taxpayer dollars are spent wisely. If I'm given the opportunity to continue as District 5 Commissioner, my focus will remain on delivering results to every corner of Saline County, not just District 5. I also see that rural and urban residents have the access to reliable internet, creating opportunities for education, business, and growth. Saline County continues to attract good jobs, investment through partnerships with the City of Salina, the Chamber of Commerce, and through economic development and the Airport Authority. Our roads, bridges, and infrastructure remain priority, so our families, our farmers, and our businesses can move safely through our community. Public safety agency have the tools and the resources to protect our community. County government remains transparent, accountable, and fiscal in responsibility. Property taxpayers should know where their money is managed carefully and respected. Growth is balanced through protection and the way of life of property rights. The future of Saline County is bright. We have a strong community dedicated to the citizens and tremendous opportunities ahead of us. My commitment is simple, working hard to listen to the people and to make decisions that leave Saline County stronger for our next generation. Thank you so much for you folks being here tonight, and again, thank you, Granny Brigade. Thank you.
Mr. Norman.
I too wanted to thank the Granite Brigade and everyone here for allowing us to have this forum. Like I said, this is a learning experience for me and so forth, that I believe I can bring business knowledge that I've done over the years to the Saline County Commission, and work with the road and bridge sorry about that, instructor, and because we've done a good job there, but there's more improvement that needs to be done. In the 23 years I was a road deputy, I saw roads that were impassable that shouldn't have been impassable if they'd have been taken care of. And the bridges, some of them have been overlooked and are needing extreme work on them to be safe. Everybody in Saline County, no matter where they live, either the city or the county, they need to have safe roads and safe bridges in order for emergency care to get to them if they could. There's been times that emergency care have not been able to get there, and it's been a tragic outcome. So this is one of the things I want to bring to the table and work with the Saline County Commission and the city of Salina and the citizens of Saline County. And I intend to try to meet every one of, or as many constituents that I can to find out what they need and what they would like to have seen done.
Thank you. Let's have a big hand for all of our candidates.
Doesn't your wife have a birthday today?
Yes, yes.
I want to thank you for coming here and leaving your wife on her birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
Oh. Yes, ma'am. You could at least say it about it. So I could Okay, if our representatives and senators will come out and get at the table. Clark? Okay. Yes.
All right, thank you guys for coming, and again, I want to leave time for questions if anybody has any this time. Maybe we're saving them all for this group. I hope so. I hope so. We're going to do the same format as what we had for the county commissioners. So you'll have a 3-minute opening statement, and then we will have questions that come in. 1-minute response time for those questions in the middle. 1 minute. 1 minute, and watch our timekeeper. She'll help out with that. Again, this is to try to keep everything going. And then we'll have a 3-minute closing at the end as well. But as we did before, we'll start here on the left-hand side. Mr. Clark Sanders, 3 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Chad. So I'm not going to take 3 minutes. I think it's more important that some of the other candidates have an opportunity to talk because I do not have a primary opponent. So I will have an opponent, it'll be whoever wins between the two Democratic ladies in August, but I don't have a primary opponent, and I think that I would like to defer as much time as possible to the other candidates. So thank you.
Thank you. And that may be the first time that Clark did not use all of his time. I'm kidding. I appreciate that though. Ms. Wolf.
Yes, thank you. I just met my primary opponent this evening, so I don't know much other than he's from Concordia. I'm from Bennington. I have lived in Ottawa County my entire life, and so this area means everything to me. It truly does. Saline would be my second home, and I've always lived in this area. I know a lot of the people from this area, and it means a lot to me to be able to represent this rural part of Kansas. It's very important to realize that we are rural, we're not urban, and we do really fight against the urban people, because when it is an actual cat fight, even more than Democrat, Republican, when you're in Topeka to fight for the rural rights, because Wichita, Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka, they're gonna eat you alive if you don't. And so that is one thing I feel like I have done strongly this year and last year, is say, hey, let me talk to you about how it's different in where I'm from and how it affects us compared to where it does you. And a lot of times you can get those people to say, oh, I never thought of that. And so that's my strength that I do.
Thank you. Mr. Video.
Yeah, thanks, thanks, Rosemary. Where is, oh, there she is. We do have a property tax problem, and when you look at Kansas versus Nebraska, Colorado, Oklahoma, and Missouri, we have the highest commercial property tax rate, the highest income tax rate, and the second highest residential property tax rate. And then when you look at the overall tax burden for Kansans, we rank an overall burden, we're 13th in the country. We're just two rungs below California. And then when you look at all the other states that are surrounding with that we're competing with for jobs and everything else, they're all in the lower half of the where they should be. And that's kind of scary. And I've got some bad news for people, including Saline County. And Lori Blake was right. We've gone down 4% in our population in the last 15 years. 51 of 54 counties west of here have lost population. And only 3 that haven't are Ellis, Fort, and Finney County. Overall, in the last 15 years, Kansas, 88 of the 105 counties have lost population. And when you lose population, the property taxes are going to go up because there's fewer people to maintain the roads, the hospitals, the schools. We need to widen the base to lower the tax rates. The other thing that we need to get serious about in Kansas is education. I looked at the National Assessment of Educational Process, which is the Department of Education thing, and I compared Kansas and Mississippi. And grade 4 reading level, Mississippi was number 49 in 2013. It's number 9 in 2024. Kansas was number 22 in 2013. We're now number 36. Grade 4 math, Mississippi was number 50 in 2013. Now they're number 16. Kansas was 10, and now we're number 31 in math. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is regulations. Right now we've got over 70,000 regulations in Kansas with 3.2 million words. That's one regulation for every 43 people in the state. That's nuts. And that makes it harder to get zoning through. It makes it harder for businesses to compete. And I've got 30 seconds left, and I made it. Thank you.
Is this Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Woodrow.
Hi, I'm Jordan Budrow. I'm from Concordia, Kansas, the only place you have to stop on 81, just right north of us. I grew up, I was born in Concordia. I went to Cloud County Community College there in Concordia. Shortly after I got done with Cloud County, I joined the Army. I spent some time in the Army. I met my wife at Cloud County. We've been married for 15 years now. We have 3 beautiful kids. But I met my wife while I was at Cloud County Community College. Went, served our country. I came back and I married her. She's been a huge blessing in my life. But overall, I have to put God first in my life. I know that everything else has followed in my life as long as I put Him first in my life. I'm a little nervous. This is the first time I've been in politics. You know, I'm not a politician. I own 4 companies, which are in Concordia, of course. I founded 12 by 12 Recovery. On top of that, I have BPR, which is a home renovation company, along with Kansas Builders Alliance, which we're a developing company. All of it serve our tax base. I saw a huge problem with our tax base and the depletion of it. And so I needed to get involved more. So we founded that. On top of it, you know, I touched a little bit about 12 by 12 Recovery. We have two homes. We have a men's home and we have a women's home. We serve the population of the struggling addicts and alcoholics in our communities. It's a huge problem, especially with the pandemic of fentanyl coming through our streets. And so on top of that, I've got a minute left here. On top of that, I established the Grind Coffee House downtown. We needed a community gathering area, not only a gathering area, but to be able to talk about what's going on in our communities. So I founded that, and I consistently hear my old timers coming in the coffee shop consistently talking about their taxes, and their property taxes. And the ones living on Social Security can't even be living in their own house that they paid off 20 years ago. So I made a commitment to them that I'd run and make a change about it. With that, I'll go ahead and pass over to the next guy.
Thank you. Mr. Howe.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Stephen Howland. I'm running as a Republican candidate for the House District 71. My wife Tamara and I are incredibly blessed to call Salina home. We've been here 21 years. We have 5 children. So we've built 2 businesses over that time as well. And we've experienced firsthand the kindness and generosity of many of our neighbors. My commitment to this community is deeply personal. I want our kids to have opportunity in places like Salina and Saline County. Now, when I first ran for office, I pledged to be a citizen legislator. And to me, that means someone that listens, serves, and brings everyday real-world concerns of our community to Topeka, not the demands of special interest and political insiders. I've consistently voted against special treatment because there's lobbyists under the dome, and I've done that through opposing the battery storage, property tax exemption, the data center, 20-year sales tax exemption, and the list goes on and on. I'm not against progress, but I believe in the free market. I believe in capitalism, and I believe that is somewhat under attack in many ways, maybe not overtly, but it creeps in here and there through this policy and that policy. I believe government is best when it's limited and it has a defined role. My core priorities are fiscal responsibility. I believe that we can broaden that base, as Mr. Veneer talked about earlier, if we quit giving out so many tax credits and exemptions to people that come up asking for it every session. I believe in empowering families. I believe in supporting our schools, whether it's private or public, but I do think parents should have a choice. I'm committed to a culture of life, protecting life from conception to a natural death, ensuring our state values every Kansan, and protects the most vulnerable among us. This election ultimately comes down to leadership, and I demonstrated a willingness to be independent, going against my own party when values or principles or questioned. And I'm always going to prioritize people over politics. I'm asking for your trust and support and your vote in the Republican primary on Tuesday, August 4th, so we can continue to work together to toward a more free and prosperous Kansas, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Senator Hill.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Great turnout. Good to see everybody. I'm kind of like Clark. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I don't have any opponent in either the primary or the general. But I do want to talk just a little bit about why it's important that you be here and that you listen to candidates, because you know, as has been kind of discussed as we went along here, we are at a crisis time in Kansas. And it's easy to say, oh, everything's going along pretty good. It really isn't. We are losing population. We're losing population in Saline County. We're losing population in western Kansas. And, you know, there's a lot of different ideas about why that's happening. But I believe that people move to where it's favorable for them. So, I mean, people are moving to Florida, they're moving to Texas, they're moving to Arizona. In some of those cases, maybe it's favorable weather, but I think a lot more likely it's favorable business climate. And so I talked earlier about conserving the values that are important to us. And the term progressive and progress has been mentioned here tonight in really a good way. You can be a conservative and believe in progress, but progressive tends to say that we throw out everything that we've come to support and uphold in this country and go a different direction. And I think that would be exactly the wrong thing to do. And in fact, many of the problems we have right now is the progressive idea of a managed society. And it has never worked anywhere in the world to have a managed society. We don't manage business. We don't tell businesses which ones can succeed and which ones cannot. If we go back to the founding principles that were written in that Declaration of Independence, 250 years ago, right now, Thomas Jefferson was writing those down. If you think about that, he was writing those down. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Liberty and pursuit of happiness, we all know life. I think each of us is a strong supporter of life. Liberty and pursuit of happiness are tied together. They don't mean that we're always going to be joyful in our lives, but it does mean that we have the liberties in our country to pursue economic prosperity for ourselves and for generations to come. I will support that in everything I do in the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the opening statement from all of these, and you heard both of the candidates on either end of the table say they are not, they don't have a primary coming up, and I know they greatly appreciate that. But the four candidates in the middle are going to be on the ballot in August. Ms. Wolf and Mr. Budrow. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Budrow.
Budrow, exactly. Budrow. Man, I was down in Louisiana. It always has an X on the end of they are running against each other for the 107th district, and Mr. Veneer and Mr. Howe are running against each other in the Republican primary for the 71st district. Did I get that correct? All of you who were up here. And I say that so that you can compare their answers if you're trying to decide between the two of them. Something has been brought up about expanding the base, the tax base, and so forth. There is a problem with us losing our younger generations from the state of Kansas. We'll start on the far end with Senator Hill. What would you do to attract the younger generation to stay in Kansas and continue their life here? 1 minute.
You know, it's really, really simple, but it's really, really hard. What's simple is that we have to get our tax structure formulated so that it doesn't run young people away. You heard about it, you can't afford a home because the property tax is too high. I have been working on this summer a couple of concrete proposals that will significantly reduce property tax. We've got to get past this deal of he said, she said, we said, of passing the buck around. And one of the things that is, I got 30 seconds left, one of the things that overshadows all of this, and this is so important, on the ballot, vote yes. vote yes, because no matter what we do as a legislature that improves our state and moves it forward, if our Supreme Court just throws it out, and that's what they've been doing for 20 years now. So vote yes, we've got to change the Supreme Court.
Thank you. Mr. Howe, same question.
Yeah, thank you. 3,826. That's how many distinct units of local government are in the state of Kansas. Kansas ranks top 5 nationwide for the total number of government entities, despite being 34th in population. 105 counties, 626 municipalities, 1,262 townships, 286 school districts. If we want to make Kansas more affordable, we need to look at our governance across the state from county all the way down to the township level. We've got to be willing to have those conversations. But if we're going to hold on to whether or not we maintain the county seat and all those things that, that protectionism, then it's going to be hard to do. But we also have to support a culture of life. We can't afford not to have children. Charlie Kirk was right. Get married young, have children. That's economic development. And it's never a good time to have children, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Butler.
So I want to make sure I'm Jordan Budrow. I want to make sure that I get the question right. How do we bring people, the younger generation, to our communities?
How do we keep them in Kansas, keep them from moving out of state?
How do we keep them in Kansas? It's increasing our tax base, right? I can't give you a simple answer. That's a wide aspect here, but we need to be able to provide housing that our kids can afford. We're getting taxed out of our houses, not introducing a new way to be able to afford a house. So that being said, and it's more on the local side of things, but support our school districts and the mental health side of things. You know, we see troubles in our schools, but we need to understand where those troubles are coming from, right? And it's the parents, and supporting our parents and being good parents and to be and thrive as parents. So that's how I think we can attract more people to our Kansas and our communities is increasing the tax base, whether that be more jobs, whether that be more industry, whether that be more housing. Attract them.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Veneer, same question.
Yes, sir. I think we obviously aren't getting the job done, so we need to look at what other states are doing. And Nebraska and Oklahoma are growing at a rate of about 10%, and Kansas as a whole is growing at a rate of about 4%. And we need to look what these states have done. Now, Nebraska, they've got their property tax situation isn't all that great, but what they're doing to attract people is they're making housing, which is kind of an oxymoron because we talk about their tax rates, but they're making incentives to keep people in with housing programs. The other thing we need to look at is programs like Oklahoma, and some incentives that Oklahoma has, and where the government is giving cash rebates of I think it was $275 million. But you look at that as an incentive, but then the return of investments on people that were paying new taxes was $528 million. So they got a $2 return for every dollar they invested.
Thank you. Ms. Wolf?
Sorry.
What we need is strong families. We need to support our families. If you have a strong family, your family stays. They don't want to separate. They can find jobs and things here. You just have to make sure that you're giving your kids the best that you can to survive and to thrive. And by doing that and having great if you live around, I'm blessed. My family all lives around here. So we've got grandmas that pitch in. We've got grandpas that pitch in. We've got aunts and uncles that pitch in. And so the kids stay because they love this part of the state. They love being here. And part of that is having that strong family connection. And that it isn't just all about the job and going somewhere where you can make more money. It's about being able to be there for each other. You can live on less when you have grandparents that can help you with some of the babysitting fees and taking care of things. So I think that's really important. I do think it's a combination of all the things we've talked about. Maybe having a little bit less local government, and instead of always adding an extra place here and an extra place there. Schools, making the most of the money that we have. We do, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sater, same question.
It doesn't matter where we are in Kansas, there are three problems that are universal to the state. People are concerned about affordable housing, they're concerned about workforce and workforce availability, and they're concerned about affordable child care. We need to address all three of those, and that's what we're gonna do to attract people to stay. And it's critically important that people stay. United States federal congressional district is 750,000 people approximately. That would mean in Kansas, we need to have a population of 3 million to justify having 4 state representatives, or 4 federal representatives. We're not there. And we are that close to losing a seat in Washington, D.C. if we can't keep our people here.
Sure. And we talked about the younger generation. This question has to do, no offense to anybody, but with the older generation, talk about the Social Security. What will you do as a state legislature to help those on Social Security keep their homes instead of being taxed out of it?
Well, I think we addressed this, what has it been, 2 or 3 years ago, where we eliminated the tax for seniors on Social Security. So in the state of Kansas, you don't pay any state income tax on Social Security. I think that was a good move, and obviously we need to maintain that.
Thank you. Ms. Wolf.
I will agree that that is another one that we want to do. Also, there are some good homestead tax things out there, and I wasn't even aware of some of them, so we need to be better at messaging and getting them out there, because there was one that my mom qualified for this year, the freeze one. We only knew about the original homestead, but there's 3 of them. We need to get that out there so people know what they are qualified to receive to help them keep their homes.
Well, I love this question. You know, the state has done a real poor job of telling seniors and disabled veterans about the golden years property tax freeze. If you have a house that's valued right now at less than $350,000 and make less than $58,041 in Kansas adjusted gross income, your property taxes will be frozen. And even if the house goes up with the years, your taxes are frozen as long as you stay in that house.
Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Paying off that house just to be paying rent to the government. And that's not the way we treat our elders. That's not the people that we tax. It's wrong, and I don't believe that it should be happening. So how would I fix it? I mean, as simple as that. We don't tax them. We freeze their taxes, right? We make sure that it didn't happen again.
Thank you. Mr. Howe.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It saddens me that seniors could be priced out of their homes. Now, sometimes that happens because of the marketplace. It happened in North Dakota in the oil boom up there where all these workers moved in and properties were bought by people from out of state, driving up the cost of real estate. Many of those people on fixed incomes couldn't afford to live in their homes anymore or afford the taxes. What we're seeing now is inflation due to poor U.S. monetary policy. In the year 2008, for every dollar that existed, today there are $3. All that does is inflate everything, from your groceries to our real estate, because where do dollars go in times like this? Well, they go into real estate. And so I don't know what you do at the state level about U.S. monetary policy, but that is one of the driving factors that's hurting many, many people. I welcome ideas on how we get there and look forward to considering this.
Thank you. Mr. Hill, same question.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I'm going to talk just a little bit about property tax, as everybody else has, because that is what we're really focusing on. And it's really, you know, the debate last session was, shall we cap cap valuation, or should we force local units of government to abide by limitations? I think those are both flawed concepts. I think the correct thing that we should be doing is the things we actually have control over as a legislature. We have control over a 20 mil that goes to school districts. We have a control over local option budgets that go to school districts, and we have control over how we tax motor vehicles. Those are the things we need to eliminate and reduce and get rid of so that people are not overtaxed on their property tax, not argue with each other about things that don't really matter.
Thank you. Hold on to that microphone if you would.
I'll just stay standing. I like standing up. I'm sorry, everybody, but
I realize all of you will be representing different districts. Some of you are competing against each other. But this question says, what do you think voters within your district care most about, and how will you take on that issue?
yeah, so I actually overlap all of these districts, so I get to have the whole bunch. But I mean, property tax is the thing that we hear over and over again, but also safety and you know, how the judicial process works is huge for the residents of my district too. So those are a couple of things. They care about their schools, and more than anything, they just want to live in a life that is supportive of each other, the kind of thing that we saw this last week in Saline. So those are things that we really need to foster. We've talked about improving the family. We've talked about improving interactions in communities. I think all of that is tied back to, do we have a good tax structure that encourages people to live here?
Thank you. Representative Pat.
Thank you. You know, a lot of the things we're discussing tonight, there is the temptation that you think perhaps government is the solution. And I don't think so. There's been more goodwill done in the past week in Salina, and it didn't take any government entity to make it happen. It's neighbor to neighbor and people helping each other out. You know, there's a lot of people that come up to Topeka to try to get us to pass certain laws, but again, I believe government should be limited, and we need to do that and govern well. Capers is 74% solvent. We've got a lot of retirees that depend on that. We've got to make sure if we're going to continue with that system, we need to make sure it's solvent. We have school finance formula expires July 1st, 2027. We've got to work on that. The next 10-year highway plan is going to come up. We have 25,000 bridges in the state of Kansas, 5,000 are state bridges, the rest are local. We've got big issues.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think the biggest problem in our district is you know, it's the property taxes, of course, and the biggest part of the property taxes is in Ottawa County and the little bit of Saline County, but the Ottawa County, Cloud County, and Mitchell County are some of the highest taxed in the state with property tax. Some of the highest taxed in the state. And for my county, that would be the biggest issue. The biggest issue would be property tax. We're getting taxed out of our own towns, right? There has to be something done. So the biggest issue with that would be property tax.
Thank you. Mr. Vanier.
Yes, sir. It's hands down property tax. And you know, if you think you have it bad here, you ought to go out to Rooks County, where they're paying 80% more in property tax than we are in Saline County on a house of the same value. And that's because the population of Rooks County has gone from 9,000 to 4,000. And, you know, Salina's gone from 55 to 53, and we're bitching. And I understand it, I get it. But the thing about it is unless we come up with more people to share the tax or grow the tax base, we're gonna pay more and more taxes. I mean, that's the only way around it. The only other thing that I've discussed with people, they really don't know about it, is how poorly we are doing in educating our young people today.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Wolf.
I believe that the most important thing to my district is taxes, education, but it's just preserving our rural lifestyle too. They don't want people coming in and saying, you have to do this. They don't want all those regulations. They like it the way it is. They live in a small rural area. They live in small towns because that's what they like. They don't want to have all the restrictions that they have in the big cities and stuff, that people tell them what they can and can't do. So I try to really get out to my people, to listen to what they have to say, and then to vote what they say.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders?
So there are 125 House districts in the state of Kansas, and even though I represent District 69, all of us represent all 125. Now, that being said, there is more of a disconnect, and it was said earlier, between urban and rural, even than there is between Republican and Democrat. And you've got people from the urban districts who really want to cram it down our throats for those of us who are from a rural district. I'll never forget in a tax committee meeting one time, there was somebody from a urban district said, well, if we in Kansas City allow you, well, you can take that and stick it up your butt as far as I'm concerned. But that's the thing that we need to understand. We all represent all 125 districts.
Thank you. This is something that has worked on a local level for some cities, for municipalities, but give us your opinion on star bonds. Mr. Sanders, we'll begin with you.
We wouldn't have our downtown without star bonds. I know it's controversial. It's great in theory, how the practice is, but I'm just saying, when you leave here tonight, get in your car and drive 2 blocks from here and drive down 5th and Santa Fe and 7th and see if you like what's going on there. And if you like it, you need to understand it's because of star bonds.
Thank you. Ms. Wolf?
Star bonds is difficult for me because I know that it's not necessarily a tax increase, but yet it is. If you live in that district, you're paying quite a bit more for your sales tax every time you order a package from Amazon or anywhere. So there is that to consider too. I do also know that there are time and place, like downtown, that it makes it a lot better and a lot nicer to be able to bring people in and bring in those out of area dollars that we all need. So I'd say star bonds are one of those things that depends on what the project is, whether I'm really for it or against it.
Thank you. Mr. Whittier?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. The extra tax that Don is talking about is the Community Improvement District tax. And that's one that the stores downtown asked for so they could take care of the improvements like all the stands and the paintings and all that. When I was here at the Granny Brigade meeting, and Michael Austin was here, and somebody asked him about star bonds, and he railed on star bonds and the Kansas City Chiefs thing for, I don't know, horrible. Anyway, I came up and asked him, I asked afterwards, I told him how this Saline Star Bonds district worked. And I said, so, what criticism do you have? He stood there. Well, the only thing I can think of is that the adjusted sales tax base needs to be raised by the rate of inflation every year. And I said, that's all you got? I mean, Michael Austin even says it works here.
Thank you. Mr. Butler?
So, now I'm loud. Okay, so yeah, the perfect example is downtown here, right? Perfect example. I ask a lot of people when I ever talk about star bonds, do you recognize when you're spending more downtown than when you're spending outside of town? Most people will say no. The reason why the star bond worked is because it beautified that downtown. It made it worth something we can be proud of, right? And so if we talk about the star bond, yes, there's certain circumstances that I can look at, but for the most part, it has done good for our community here in Salina. And I think it can do better, do more for the future. So we talk about different ways we can decrease our property tax, right? Well, that didn't increase our property tax. We didn't increase our property taxes at all. We beautified our downtown. We brought more jobs in. we brought more businesses in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Howe?
Thank you for the question. I'm maybe the only one up here so far, but I think the Star Bond program should expire. My wife and I have been in the Salina downtown. We predate the Star Bond district. We chose, you know, at the time, downtown was a little bit vacant, storefronts were vacant. But that was an opportunity for someone that didn't have much equity to start a business. And so that's where we planted our flag, and we've been there 20 years. But because we're in downtown, we now have to pay more sales tax. You know, so if you like paying 10.25% sales tax or 11.25% if you're going to the alley, then Star Bonds are great for you. What is the measure of success? Star Bonds are good in Salina, perhaps, because of local money being invested here by people that have skin in the game, not from out of state or out of town developers. Not all Star Bond districts are created equally.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things about Star Bonds is it's a catchy phrase, and everybody has an opinion one way or other about Star Bonds. Let's be really clear what it is. It is sales tax that is going as an incentive to businesses to locate there. Instead of the sales tax going to the state, it's going to the business owner. We do the same kind of incentives with property tax, we do the same kind of incentives with income tax. Do those work? I think the example down here at downtown Salina, it's worked very well because we've had people that are highly invested in the idea of rejuvenating downtown Salina. And second thing, it has brought in outside money that wouldn't have been here previously. Those two things are incredibly important for Star Bonds to work. The Chief Star Bond is something totally different. It shouldn't be even compared to the others because it was a bill that went through all on its own. It is a sales tax incentive to business owners.
Thank you. We're running really low on time, and I'm trying to consolidate some of these questions. I'm just going to ask this one and have you raise your hand. How many of you are pro-life? Fair enough. Got that question. I'm going to ask one more question, then we'll have a closing statement. And it's been brought up a couple of times tonight, and there are several questions about this. The status or the state of our education in the state of Kansas. And some of the figures are even abysmal as far as reading and proficiency and so forth. We'll start with Senator Hill and come back down this way. What do we need to do in Kansas to improve our proficiency of our children in our state schools?
A wonderful question that there's no way I can even begin to answer in 1 minute. I've spent most of my legislative career working on education. I serve on the Education Funding Task Force. Currently, I serve on an Education Committee in the Senate. I served on Education Funding and Education in the House. We need to rethink education because what we have done is an evolutionary process where we keep evolving, and we are evolving the wrong direction. And it's time we stopped, took a look at it, and said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing with more gusto and expecting different results. So I will continue to work for creative solutions to improve education. I believe we can do it. I believe we can be Mississippi all over again. But let me tell you, education in Kansas has gone from a top 10 education back around 2000 to where most put us right now in the bottom third.
Thank you. Mr. Howe, education.
I've had some of my children in private school and public school. And I went to the Central High School graduation this year, and I'm glad there's some graduates in the room here, but tremendous kids. I think we do a disservice when all we do is project negativity because I've been encouraged by what I've seen with some of these graduates. You know, it's not government's role to educate our kids. It's the parents' primary, it's their role to read to their kids at bedtime, to spend time, quality time. But because it is so expensive to make a living these days, families are working 2, 3, 4 jobs just to earn a living. At what cost? That's a detriment to our kids' So after-school programs and those things, we need to keep focusing on some of those things. They make a big, big difference.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
I believe we need to focus on the mental health in our schools. What I see in our local schools is that we're struggling to support our family members, our parents, to give these kids a proper education. You know, to be able to afford to be able to work a full-time job and have their kids go to school. So yeah, support our after-school programs, of course, but work on where the state of the family is, where the family is sitting within each school. If a parent feels better to put their kid in a said school or homeschool their children, they should have that choice. And I believe that is a big part of the public education that we have here.
Thank you. Mr. Vinier.
Okay, real quick, what we need to do is, Kansas needs to pass its own literacy-based promotion act. What we've found is the kids in grades 1 through 3 are learning how to learn, and when they reach 4th grade, they read to learn to read, and then read to learn. And this is why Mississippi has had such phenomenal successes. If your kid can't read by 3rd grade, they don't go to the 4th grade. The other thing I want to correct Scott on one thing on the sales tax base for star bonds. The sales tax base when the star bond district was created still goes to the city. It's still paid into the city. The above the base goes to pay off the bondholders.
Thank you. Ms. Wolf, education.
Yes, I am on education, and it is very important what we are doing for our children. And I will say this, it's not the amount of money we spend, because we're like in the top 20–25% in spending compared to other states. So it's not that we're not spending enough money, it's just that I was in the classroom for 20 years, and it's all these mandates of new things that they keep wanting us to do and do, and we're getting away from the basics of the reading, writing, and arithmetic stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that we really need to focus on, and we work to make that happen this year. Talking about the testing so teachers can know where their students are and what they need to work on. If they see that 15 of their 20 kids in their class missed question number 7, then that's something we need to go back and we need to redo so that we are prepared for when they get there and they start taking their testing.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders.
So in 1991, we reworked the school finance formula. We've been working with the same formula basically ever since. There have been some tweaks to it over the years, but it's basically the same formula that we've had since 1991. The people that you elect this time, whichever of us are fortunate to get to go back to Topeka, will be working on a new school finance formula in 2027. So that's an important thing, and you should definitely consider that when you cast your vote.
Thank you. We are unfortunately out of time, and I do appreciate you guys coming in, but I do want to give opportunity for a closing statement, summarize, what has been going on, if you have any comments. We started with opening statements with Representative Sanders. Let's start on the opposite end with Senator Hill. 3 minutes for a closing statement from each of you tonight. We'll start with Senator Scott Hill. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, grannies and everybody that's here. This is a fantastic opportunity to get together and share some ideas, and I think you see some subtle differences as we go through and talk about things, but I believe in Kansas. I believe in the people of Kansas. I believe we need to turn Kansans loose. We need to take this yoke that we put on them that saddles them down with property tax, with sales tax, with income tax. We've become one of the highest tax states, as was brought out. I think the number is actually higher than 13th, but we are an extremely heavily taxed state. We have more government than we can afford. We've got to get better at saying, what can we reduce? What can we minimize? What can we consolidate? And that is a huge thing, a very hard thing to do. And so all of the ideas that we talk about tonight, you hear people say, well, we need to use government money to do this, and we need to use government money to do that. We need to give people the money back and let them do with it as they see fit. And when we change our philosophy and start to think that way, we will see Kansas prosper like other states that have taken that approach and have allowed their citizens to prosper. And if you look back the history of our country didn't grow because we bought economic development. Our country grew because we gave people liberty and freedom and the opportunity to be successful in their businesses. We need to get back to that concept, and we have the greatest people. We need to give them the greatest system to operate in.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Hill. Representative Happel.
Thank you again for the opportunity to join you this evening and to hear from all of us. I appreciate the fact that Jay had filed to run in this election because I haven't had an opponent in the Republican primary. And with that, you see apathy. We don't need apathy because apathy just bleeds into our republic dwindling. Our republic is strong when people are involved, when they have their voice heard at the ballot box. So please get out and vote. With me, you have a candidate that supports limited government. I don't believe government is the answer to everything. Its role is limited and we should try to govern well. It doesn't have to be complicated, but sometimes, this past session is a good example. We project to the public, property taxes is the #1 issue. We got to get property taxes under control and all these things. But just the year before, we were saying the state's out of the property tax business. We removed the 1.5 mil outside of the school, 20 mils. And so we're sending mixed messages. We have to be willing to part ways with 19th century governance. We have to update our governance to meet 21st century challenges and opportunities. Additionally, no one's talked about immigration. I wrote a letter 2 weeks ago. Someone in our community was detained, and I'm all for supporting our laws. Was detained but had been here 30 years. Driver's license expired. Stuck at ICE facility in Newkirk, Oklahoma. I wrote a letter in support of his bond to get out. A Christian man, a family man, someone that loves his community. We need to keep the right people here that want to be here, invest in our communities, who are putting new roofs all over Salina after the hailstorm. If it wasn't for immigration, whether or not you like it, legal or illegal, our economy would be in the dumps. So we have to get real about solutions. We can't make it so political. That's been the biggest frustration for me in the last 20 years of public service. Whether it's Republicans in charge or Democrats in charge, both sides like to kick this football around. And I think it does a disservice because we're a nation of immigrants and we're a land of opportunity. We want people here that value family. We want people here that are hardworking. And so I've gone off on a tangent a little bit. I had to get that out, so I appreciate you taking the time to listen to that. I would really appreciate your vote of confidence and trust on Tuesday, August 4th. Don't sit this one out. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Get them to the polls. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Boudreaux.
So hi, I'm Jordan Boudreaux. I gotta let you guys know that. I'm running for the 107th House of Representatives. So I'm serving a little part of Saline County, Ottawa County, Mitchell County, Cloud County. All those counties have depleted population, depleted housing, depleted a lot of things. Our schools are still getting the same amount of funding for less people. So there needs to be understanding that there's a lot of issues that we can talk about tonight. And a lot of things that need to get fixed. But nothing changes if nothing changes. And I want to be the change to the 107th. I'm an Army man. I'm a businessman. I'm a community creator. There's a lot of topics I'd like to talk to people about, and a lot of things that we can get changed in our communities. I'm here for Kansas. Kansas is home to me. And I'm tired of seeing families leave because we're running them out. So I hope to see you on August 4th for your vote for 107.
Thank you. Mr. Vinier.
Yes, sir. Stephen is a well-liked guy. I think you'd have a hard time finding anybody who could say a bad word about him. I'm just going through what Stephen's resume and ballots look like, or votes look like. And we need a guy that's going to deliver results for Salinas. Stevens talks about, wants to end special interest exemptions and tax credits to lower your taxes. But he's been in the legislature for 6 years, and he's never sponsored or co-sponsored any such bill that would reduce those taxes or eliminate those taxes for Kansans. We know he's not the economic development guy. He's even posted on Facebook that sometimes the best economic development is a good rain. We talk about programs and government involvement and things like that. We've got to look at the fact that Nebraska and Oklahoma are kicking our tails in growth rate. We've got to look at the fact that why Kansas City and eastern Kansas has gained 153,000. Sedgwick County and Johnson County have gained, 133,000, just those two counties. And the rest of the state, our Saline County and on west, we've lost 29,000. You want to talk about property taxes, look at Johnson County. I did a study on, I can't remember if it was a $250,000 home, I think it was. The percentage of their property taxes that actually go to the county on a $250,000 home were $683. I believe in Saline it's about $1,153. You go out to Rooks County and it's about $2,200. That goes to show you when you're widening the base, you're going to lessen the property tax rates, and that's what we need to do in Salina. Let me see if I got all my notes here. I'll be available to go to attend committee meetings that are 3 o'clock in the afternoon or later. I had the opportunity to go through all the finances on the STAR bonds and TIF districts downtown. That was set up in 2018 as a 20-year deal. Those bonds will be repaid back by 2030 or 2031, 7 to 8 years ahead of schedule. When that happens, the property tax money that's generated and the sales tax revenue will all go to Mr. Tony Newell, and he'll distribute them accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Yes, why am I running again? I'm running for re-election because I believe in the 107th district, but I know we still have work to do. There are 165 votes in the Senate and the House, so anybody believing they can go make change with just one vote, they're kidding themselves. What I do like to do is I go out to my communities. I answer your emails. If you need help getting your electricity turned on, if you need help with a custody battle or something, you can call me and I can hook you up with the people that need it. We've had water issues in some of our counties. I brought the state in, myself and Senator Bowers, and we worked on that stuff for our farmers. We want to have good water that is good for years and years to come. It's still enough that the farmers can grow their crops. And that's the kind of stuff that I can really help my district on, and that I've taken great pride in helping people do that kind of stuff. We need to continue strengthening our infrastructure, supporting our local communities, and protecting taxpayers. We also need to ensure that Kansas remains a place where families can succeed and businesses can grow. I bring experience in this by being a commissioner for 6 years and now state legislator for 2. So we start 2027, I'm on the ground running. I know what to do, I know the people to ask to get things done. At the end of the day, this election comes down to trust. Who do you trust to represent your values? Who do you trust to make tough decisions? Who do you trust to stand firm when it matters? And I know many of you have followed my votes. So I just want to say thank you all for being here. This was a great crowd to talk to tonight. I thank the grannies for setting this all up for us and allowing us to share our opinions. And I just ask for your support on August the 4th. God bless Kansas. God bless all of you.
Thank you. Representative Sanders.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, grannies. Thank you for being here and coming to hear us. So I don't know if you missed it, I don't have a primary opponent, but you need to go vote on August 4th, because that's when you'll get a chance to vote yes on the Supreme Court judges. And I urge you to do that. So please don't bypass that opportunity. Please get out and vote on August 4th. Meanwhile, after August 4th, I will have an opponent, and I guarantee you she will be quite a bit different from me. So if you want somebody who's pro-life, if you want somebody who doesn't think that boys have any business in girls' sports, if you want somebody who thinks that you need to keep the gender that's on your driver's license needs to stay the same and that you can't change it on a whim. Basically, if you are a conservative, in the best sense of that word, you need to vote for me in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative, thank you.
Can I say one thing about the 16th? Can I say one thing about the 16th? Did anybody get this mailer from Planned Parenthood? I got this mailer from...
Microphone, please.
This is just so rich. I got this thing, Kansas Courts, a staple of healthy democracy, from Planned Parenthood, Great Plains. This is just hilarious. Justices selected based on merit. It's the trial attorneys that are doing it. And, oh, by the way, Kansas Courts, a staple of healthy democracy. This is the same No Kings group. I mean, they want to say we can't elect our judges, but yet we're a threat to democracy. And the other thing I just love, justices are constitutional experts. That's why 5 out of the last 6 Kansas Supreme Court cases that went to the U.S. Supreme Court were overturned. Yeah, they're real experts.
Well, thank you. All
Yes,
our
give them a big
candidates
hand.
tonight. There are plenty of campaign signs out there, yard signs, and I just got a shipment from the Attorney General's office on the vote yes for the judges. So pick some of them up and get them in your yard. So.
If you can help out with chairs, we have racks